Hello and welcome to Follow the Money. I'm Raine Musñgi. Join us as we explore the tools and insights you need to jumpstart your financial journey. All three major U.S. stock indices scored record closing highs on Wednesday as technology shares rallied after upbeat results from Salesforce and as comments by Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell gave a late boost to the market. Powell said at a New York Times event that the economy is stronger than it appeared in September when the central bank began cutting interest rates, allowing policymakers to potentially be a little more cautious in reducing rates further. Investors expect a third consecutive interest rate cut at the central bank's December 17 to 18 meeting. They're also waiting for the monthly U.S. jobs data due on Friday and jobless claims data on Thursday.
The market today is definitely showing an upward bias with the NASDAQ up about 1% this afternoon. And it's a little bit surprising because there are certainly a number of forces out there that could be pulling this market back as it struggles to look at global political stresses as well as surprises for the day. I think what we take away from this is that we have a handful of strong earnings today, and the market is most definitely rewarding those earnings.
The CEO of UnitedHealthcare, Brian Thompson, was fatally shot on Wednesday. This tragic event has shocked the business community and prompted a manhunt for the assailant. The incident occurred outside the Hilton Hotel in Midtown Manhattan, where the company's annual investor conference was about to take place. Thompson was ambushed around 6:45 a.m. and rushed to a nearby hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Police have launched an investigation into the incident, describing it as a targeted attack. The gunman, described as a masked individual who fled on an electric bike, remains at large. UnitedHealthcare is the largest U.S. health insurer, providing benefits to tens of millions of Americans. This incident has raised concerns about security measures for corporate executives.
We have increased the reward in this case to $10,000. I want to be clear. At this time, every indication is that this was a premeditated, pre-planned, targeted attack. Millions of people will be enjoying the tree lighting tonight, among other holiday events, and the NYPD will be out there with them, keeping them safe.
American automaker General Motors is taking a more than $5 billion hit on its joint venture in China. GM told investors on Wednesday that GM's China division, once a profit engine, is now losing money, about $350 million in the region in the first 3 quarters of this year. The non-cash charges include $2.6 to $2.9 billion for restructuring costs and $2.7 billion for reduced joint venture value. GM has struggled to compete with car makers in China, the world's largest auto market, as they are partly buoyed by government subsidies. GM partners with SAIC Motors in China to build Buick, Chevrolet, and Cadillac vehicles. Stiff competition and a price war in China have had visible effects on other automakers as well. Volkswagen, while now the best-selling brand in China, is trying to deepen ties with Chinese partners, including SAIC, for EV technology to offset flagging sales. German automaker and SAIC agreed to extend their joint venture to 2040. And meanwhile, GM rival Ford is transforming its presence in China to become a vehicle export hub. Some analysts have urged all of Detroit's automakers to cut their losses and exit China altogether. Well, Cyber Monday 2024 broke records as the biggest online shopping day ever. That's according to data from Adobe and Salesforce. U.S. shoppers spent as much as $13.3 billion, representing slight increases from last year's record-setting day. Adobe Digital predicts total U.S. holiday sales will exceed $240 billion, an 8.4% increase from last year. Salesforce forecasts a similar 8% growth for the season. Discounts on electronics and apparel have helped drive purchases, appealing to inflation-conscious consumers seeking value. Salesforce noted that some shoppers also took the opportunity to splurge on luxury items they had planned to buy during the holiday sale season. The average order value on Cyber Monday was $124 per transaction, with customers purchasing about 3.5 items each. Mobile devices played a key role, accounting for more than 75% of website visits and over half of all sales. Salesforce highlighted that improved mobile shopping experiences as a factor in driving these numbers, even for big-ticket purchases like electronics, furniture, and appliances. Here at home, the Philippine Statistics Authority just released the latest inflation data. The country's November inflation rate stands at 2.5%. This is higher than the 2.3% in October, driven primarily by higher food prices. However, it remains well below the 4.1% recorded in November last year and within the central bank's forecast range of 2.2 to 3%. The latest inflation print supports further monetary easing, and after a cumulative 50 basis points in reduction in the benchmark rate since August. Central Bank Governor Eli Remolona last month said both a rate cut and a pause will be considered during their next December 19 policy meeting. And he told Bloomberg that while the central bank was still on an easing cycle, signs of price pressures could prod policymakers to stand pat. Economic growth that slowed more than expected last quarter could sway policymakers into sustaining the easing cycle, while the peso's weakness against the strong U.S. dollar may give them reason to hold its key interest rate steady. The Board of Investments is on track to reach its 2024 target of 1.6 trillion pesos in investment approvals. As of November, the BOI has approved 1.5 trillion pesos in investment pledges, marking a 44% increase compared to the same period last year. This growth is largely driven by renewable energy projects, which make up 1.35 trillion pesos of the total approvals. Local companies dominate the investment landscape, contributing 1 trillion pesos. Calabarzon leads as the top investment hub, with Central Luzon following closely behind. This shows the Philippines' growing attractiveness for investors, especially in sustainable energy. It also highlights strong local participation and regional growth potential. Nomura Global Markets Research lowers its gross domestic product growth forecast for the Philippines for 2025, signaling a more challenging economic outlook due to political and external pressures. Nomura now expects the economy to grow by 6% next year, down from its previous forecast of 6.1%. The revision is attributed to strong external headwinds and domestic political tensions that could slow growth. These challenges include uncertainty from the upcoming midterm elections and escalating conflict between President Bongbong Marcos and Vice President Sara Duterte. For 2024, Nomura maintains its growth forecast at 5.6%, below the government's target of 6 to 6.5%. The Philippines steps up efforts to strengthen economic ties with Canada and the World Trade Organization to open doors for new investments and trade opportunities. President Marcos met with WTO Director General at Malacanang on Wednesday. He shared the country's big plans to enhance trade and commerce with global partners. The President also met with Canada's Minister of Export Promotion, International Trade and Economic Development. He emphasized the need to work with allied nations to position the Philippines as a leading investment destination. A Canadian trade mission with over 300 delegates is in the Philippines for a 3-day visit to explore investment opportunities. And compliant electric cooperatives will now be exempt from paying local government taxes and fees. A joint memorandum circular from the Energy and Finance Departments states that all power cooperatives can qualify for the exemption if they meet financial and operational standards. To avail of the benefit, they must obtain a certificate of compliance from the National Electrification Administration. Energy Secretary Rafael Lutilla says This will allow cooperatives to redirect resources toward expanding electricity access, especially in unserved and underserved communities. This move helps lower energy costs and speed up electrification in remote and underserved communities, supporting rural development. Up next, we explore why Filipinos love returning to Hong Kong and what makes this milestone so impactful for both nations. Stay on BNC and follow the money.
At BNC, 12 noon doesn't mean break.
Good afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, staunch Duterte ally Salvador Panelo believes Vice President Sara Duterte will be impeached. United Nations hailing the ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon's Hezbollah. Australia officially banning children under 16 from social media. And those are the news this hour. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
This is The Scorecard,
where you score the latest sports news
and in-depth views. I'm Anton Rojas.
I'm Erica Christensen.
Get ready, be prepared, get to the latest stories, updates, and reports about what's happening in the world of sports. Hosted by Anton Rojas, Erica Christensen.
Where sports is our business and business is our sport.
The Scorecard, 9:30 p.m. on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Welcome back to Follow the Money. 2024 marks a banner year for tourism recovery, with Hong Kong welcoming its 1 millionth Filipino visitor, a record-breaking milestone. The Philippines leads Southeast Asia in tourism, contributing significantly to Hong Kong's vibrant and fast-recovering travel industry. Joining us today to discuss this historic achievement is CJ Liu, Regional Director of Southeast Asia for the Hong Kong Tourism Board. She will share insights on the role of Filipino travelers and the future of Hong Kong tourism. CJ, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Raine. Hi.
Can you start us off by giving us an overview of the Hong Kong Tourism Board and its role in promoting Hong Kong as a travel destination?
Sure. The Hong Kong Tourism Board is a government-subvented body tasked to promote as well as market Hong Kong as a travel destination worldwide and to enhance visitors' experience across their journey once they arrive. And we want to showcase how Hong Kong, as Asia's world city, has something to offer to everyone, no matter what kind of traveler you may be, regardless of age and their preferences in travel itineraries.
And it has been reported the Philippines has become a key market in Hong Kong's tourism recovery. What factors do you think have contributed to this strong resurgence in Filipino arrivals?
Well, for this year, we have recovered more than 127% as compared to pre-pandemic levels. This very strong arrival trend from Philippines to Hong Kong can be attributed to 4 key factors. First and foremost, maintaining connection with our trade, media, as well as our consumers was our main focus throughout the pandemic when travel was not possible. So we managed to engage with the Philippines partners through webinars as well as online workshops, such that when Hong Kong was reopening its borders, our very supportive trade partners were ready to push forth Hong Kong products. And secondly, of course, we relied very heavily on Hong Kong's diverse tourism offers. So including our theme parks, shopping districts, outlying islands, culinary delights continue to draw the Filipinos. And besides that, our attractions like Hong Kong Disneyland and Ocean Park, Hong Kong, which are always in the itineraries. And there is always shopping. And as we know, Hong Kong is a culinary paradise. So we can actually really enjoy dim sum in a local cha chan teng and be dining at the Michelin-starred restaurant in the next moment. So our diverse offerings were really a main draw. The third factor I wanted to share was really what helped us to connect with the Filipinos was that during the pandemic, we focused on maintaining the connection with our Filipino market and really by adapting new ways to engage with them. Since in-person activities were limited back then, we created a campaign called the 100 Reasons to Miss Hong Kong, to bring the essence of Hong Kong directly to the homes of the Filipinos. So through this initiative, we highlighted the things that people have come to love about the city, be it food, shopping, nightlife, and nature, giving Filipinos a chance to reminisce about their past visits. And when travel resumed, we actually faced another unique challenge, not just that how to bring the Filipino travelers back, but also how to make a very strong statement to relaunch Hong Kong to the world. So being one of the last cities to reopen our borders, we needed to create a strong comeback campaign. So that was when Hello Hong Kong campaign was born, and we kicked off with 500,000 free flights to Hong Kong, as well as a 1 million Hong Kong goodies vouchers, making it an irresistible invite for those who are keen to revisit the city again. And the fourth point I wanted to share was that we embarked on a very creative collaboration through music, fashion, and movies to reconnect with everyone. So, riding on Star Power, we brought to life creative projects like music videos shoot in Hong Kong featuring KD and Alexa. We also did magazine cover with Mega featuring David as well as Barbie Forteza. And the first of its kind movie titled Under Parallel Skies, which saw the first ever pairing of Janela Salvador with Thailand's heartthrob Win Metamin. So, and besides Star Power that we borrowed, something more localized that we did was this year we focused on the essence of the relationship that Filipinos have with Hong Kong. So a video series titled Of Course Hong Kong was launched featuring Hong Kong-based Filipinos and their personal recommendations for attractions and spots to visit in the city. And this really gave the public new perspectives on Hong Kong. And these little touches and efforts have been instrumental in bringing Filipinos back to Hong Kong, ensuring it remains a top destination among the Filipinos. And lastly, the last factor I wanted to share was the mega events in Hong Kong that really helped to draw in the visitors that focused on experiential travel. So with the recent trend of traveling to events and festivals, there is a growing popularity in concert tourism. An example is the recently concluded Clockenflap, which is an annual music and arts festival in Hong Kong, brings about a high turnout every year. And concerts in general of well-known artists in Hong Kong also do very well. So the Filipinos choose to watch their shows in Hong Kong so as to experience a different kind of concert atmosphere. And they really throw in concerts into their Hong Kong itineraries. And of course, not forgetting Hong Kong's very vibrant art scene, as well as our gastronomic events, also draw in huge crowds every year.
Right, we're definitely loving all of the adoration, perhaps, that even Dubai is sharing with the Philippines right now, and Filipinos' support for Hong Kong and Dubai. Now, Hong Kong, again, saw a record-breaking 1 million Filipino visitors this year. How has this milestone impacted local businesses and perhaps the tourism industry overall there?
So for the hospitality sector, this meant that there's really higher hotel occupancy and increased demand for travel-related services, including our attractions as well as our malls. Local businesses-wise, from family-owned shops to bigger restaurant chains, as well as to the bars and all, we really have felt the impact firsthand. And it's very heartwarming to see the neighborhoods buzzing again with energy. And it's very apparent because you see Filipinos family eating at local tea houses, groups of friends shopping at the street markets, and couples taking in the stunning views at the Peak as well as Victoria Harbour. And in support of all these growth, we rolled out initiatives such as the Hong Kong Goodies and the Hong Kong Night Treats, where visitors could redeem vouchers for shopping, dining, and attractions within Hong Kong. And we had the support of 16,000 merchant outlets simultaneously handing out good deals to our tourists, which helped really local businesses to attract even more customers.
Definitely lots of incentives there, and we're all appreciative of that. And now, while this is a celebratory moment, Southeast Asia has other emerging tourism hubs. How does Hong Kong plan to maintain its competitive edge in the region?
Well, Hong Kong, we are constantly rejuvenating and developing new experiences to give tourists more exciting options, like West K, the West Kowloon Cultural District. It is transforming the city into an arts and cultural hub, featuring museums like M+, which houses contemporary art exhibitions, as well as Hong Kong Palace Museum, which offers us a glimpse into our history. And events such as is really a big part of what keeps Hong Kong at the top of people's minds, hosting international events like Art Basel Hong Kong, the Hong Kong Wine and Dine Festival, and Hong Kong Sevens means the world's eyes are on us throughout the year. And next year, the newly opened Kai Tak Sports Park, which has a seating capacity of 50,000, will host Coldplay's world tour in April, and Hong Kong Sevens as well. So we are anticipating an even larger and wilder crowd at the rugby games. And as early as February next year, our twin Panda Cups at Ocean Park, Hong Kong, are anticipating their first public appearance. So this is yet another reason for the families to visit the theme park once again. So be it food, sports, culture, we're always finding new ways to innovate and engage with people.
CJ, Hong Kong is, of course, one of the most expensive cities in the world, but that didn't stop Filipino travelers from spending an average of 7,100 Hong Kong dollars per trip. Can you discuss how this aligns with Hong Kong's strategy to attract high-spending tourists?
Well, Hong Kong is really known for its very diverse offerings. We're known as a shopping destination that offers variety ranging from street stores to luxury malls, catering to tourists with different preferences as well as budgets. We're also a melting pot of different cultures and cuisines, which is really a big draw for Filipinos since we know everyone likes food, right? So they really want to experience our gastronomy scene, which can be offered, from street food to Michelin-starred restaurant. And the range of accommodations in the different Hong Kong neighborhoods also caters to every type of travel budget, which explains why Hong Kong is a place that Filipinos aspire to keep coming back. And we, in turn, are very inspired to continue to offer unique experiences to make their trips different each time they visit.
Definitely Hong Kong has a special place in our hearts, but do you see any challenges that the Hong Kong tourism sector faced post-pandemic, and how have you adapted to overcome them?
Well, the challenges faced actually by most of the destinations upon resumption of travel were very similar. So mainly with factors like flight capacity, taking longer time to fully recover, getting manpower back to the hospitality and service industry also posed a problem initially, as well as a strong Hong Kong dollar, which made it a little bit difficult for some of our travelers. But despite all these challenges, we have seen a steady growth in visitor numbers. So in 2023, Hong Kong welcomed 34 million visitors, which was actually more than what we expected and forecasted at the beginning of the year. And it is really a sign that we are on the right track and the tourists really miss Hong Kong. And we've also rallied the support of our local Hong Kong industry, including our travel agents, airlines, hotels, restaurants, and attractions to move forward together and to really develop our plans for the year. And we have also maintained to be very flexible and responsive, keeping a very close eye on the recovery in different markets. So Southeast Asia in particular has bounced back rather quickly, with Philippines leading as the number one source market. And in 2023, Southeast Asia is already back at 70% of pre-pandemic figures.
CJ, on the side, you mentioned that you work together with a lot of the airline industries as well as the hotels. Would you be able to share with us whether much of your budget, much of the investment that you've made went to all these industries to be able to bring down prices for tourists to be able to go to Hong Kong more?
Well, in terms of investments, I think we are. It's not only towards the industries in Hong Kong, but we are also investing in a lot of promotions throughout Southeast Asia and the rest of the world. So I think for us, the main thing is really to focus on promoting Hong Kong for what it has, all the diverse offerings that we have, and what a beautiful city we are, and all the things that you can enjoy when you're back in the city.
Certainly, as a former worker and resident of Hong Kong, I really appreciate the region. Now, for many, travel, of course, evokes deep emotions and cherished memories. Are there personal or professional moments that stand out for you when reflecting on Hong Kong's tourism recovery journey?
Sure. Well, while Hong Kong is better known for its skyscrapers and building architecture and all, did you know that 70% of Hong Kong actually comprises of green spaces, and there are 263 outlying islands and 24 country parks. So each time I visit Hong Kong, I'll make sure I take time to explore a different hiking trail and nature space, and this is really healing for me. And it is really amazing because it's really easy to get to these trails and yet come back in time for an awesome meal back in the city. That really never fails to amaze me. And I'm glad you brought up this about the recovery journey, because the pandemic had a very profound impact on all of us in the travel industry. And it really wasn't until travel resumed that we began seeing joyful faces of tourists back in the city again. And we truly understood how much we have missed that connection. And now when I visit the tourist spots in Hong Kong, I can really feel that connection again. And the grateful smiles we receive speak volumes about the positive impact of tourism's return.
Well, hopefully, we'll also see Hong Kong locals visit the Philippines in the near future. Thank you so much, CJ Liu, Regional Director of Southeast Asia for the Hong Kong Tourism Board, for sharing your insights into this historic milestone. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And before we go, we leave you with this thought from former United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. Recovery is proof of the human desire to explore and connect globally. And that is it for today's edition of Follow the Money. I'm Raine Musñgi. Thank you so much for watching. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News channel, always on top.